So for today's What Wednesday question, we're going to talk about how do you handle the emotional side of downsizing, like especially like heirlooms and things that have memories attached to them.
There you go.
What?
Okay, this is probably going to be more for me. This is very, very hard for me. Still to this day, it is very, very hard for me. Nathan is much better, much better at that. He doesn't get as attached as I do to things, and I'm about as attached to things as you can probably get. I have a really hard time. I don't know, as you go along, you start out with more than you need. I mean, when you have that initial downsize, I feel like we've had like multiple purges, especially since we've downsized our living space since then in RVs as well.
Well, you don't know in the beginning. You don't know what you need. You know,
Yeah.
you got the waffle maker and the multiple the multiples of different utensils and tools, and that's a big part of downsizing. Is over time just really being aware of, hey, am I using this? Do I really need this? Whether it's clothes or tools or things in the kitchen. If there's something in your kitchen you haven't used it for 6 months, I mean,
Yeah.
the toughest thing for me is tools. Because you're always like, what if there's that one tool I need at that one moment? There's not much more frustrating as a guy, like when something breaks and you go to get what you think you have, but then you realize you got rid of it. It's very frustrating. I know the feeling as far as that. I mean, holding on to tools is something that's tough for me.
I would have to say clothes are probably the hardest for me. I have a hard time. I love clothes, love them, and it's really hard to get rid of. I mean, because I enjoy them, and I'm like, I have a memory with that. I wore that dress to that wedding, or, there's certain things that I can probably tell you, like, every major event in my life, like, what I wore. Like, it sticks out in my mind, and it's hard for me to let go of that memory, it feels like, when I'm letting go of that item. And, I mean, obviously, I love having lots of choices in clothes. And it's hard when you're getting rid of something, too. You're like, this is still good. I can still wear this, but I don't need it. I just need kind of what I need on a weekly basis or whatever. And then we do laundry, and then I wear the same stuff over and over. So
I think you become emotionally attached to clothes and think you need certain clothes and need a lot of them. But if somebody came in, like the clothing police came in and like really showed you what you wore and how many times you wore it during a year, I mean, let's be honest, we've all just got favorite stuff that we wear over and over and over and over. I would say there's just a tiny portion of Marissa's clothes, like maybe 20%, that she probably wears like 90% of the time.
Well, I like to keep the same pieces and just wear them differently, kind of like a capsule wardrobe. And so I have that same dress, but, I wear it different ways. So that's been good. It's kind of helped me get through having different outfits, but having the same pieces.
Yeah, I think that mindset shift of I can use the same clothes in different ways, I think is really, that's been a game changer for her. And for me too. I mean, I'm sort of got an extreme capsule wardrobe.
Yes, he does. I'm
I
not
mean-
gonna hike in the pants I wear to church. This is
they're called bluff works. To my defense, you go to the website and it's going to say that. And I mean, I think they're okay. I don't know.
or hike in those pants and then go to a wedding in them later.
Well, maybe not the same day, but that's what they're made. They're made for, I try to buy clothes that have tons and tons of different purposes. And these pants they've got a tiny little bit of stretch where you can hike in them, but at the same time, they can look good enough where you can wear them out, that kind of thing. But anyways, she'll call me out on all kinds of stuff, I'm sure. But unfortunately, I don't have the best of anything. Like those pants, for instance, aren't like the absolute best dress pants ever. They're probably not the absolute best hiking pants ever, but they are pretty good at doing both.
I'm not going to give him that hard of a time, though, because the less clothes he has, the more I can have. So I'm not going to make fun of him because I want his closet space.
And to my defense, I mean, I did not start getting this extreme with my clothes until I knew that we were going to start doing this. I've never been crazy about clothes, but I've never been this minimalist because it takes more effort to try to do what I do with clothing. It'd be a lot easier just to have more options and more clothes. And so I really have to think through, okay, can this thing do this, this, and this? And so
when it comes to heirloom type stuff, I had some breakable things that were passed down from my dad, and there was just certain things that you inherit from family members that are important to you. I mean, obviously we don't have room to be taking glassware.
We don't have a china cabinet.
Yeah, we don't. So that is tough. And I know a lot of you guys out there have things that you don't want to part with that mean a lot to you. I mean, so I get that. For us, what we did in that situation was I actually gave my heirloom pieces to family members so that they are getting use. They are sentimental to my family members as well, so they get to use them and enjoy them. And then, you know, one day maybe we can get them back, but you have to not have that expectation. I think I had to part with it because, I mean, you never know what would happen. You can't give it to a family member maybe and think, what if they break it? What if they forget and they think it's theirs? Like, I know there's a lot of risk involved with that, but at the same time, like, I wanted it to be loved. I wanted it to be enjoyed, because it did mean a lot to me.
I think that's one of the mindsets I try to have with stuff, whether it's heirlooms or other thing, is used to the mindset was, hey, I really care about this, and so I'm going to take it and I'm going to store it somewhere safe so that nothing happens to it, and just in case, you know, I've got it and that kind of thing. But a lot of the times when you take stuff, even though you try to be careful, you take it and store it. I mean, sometimes there's a leak and something happens to it, or you forget you totally have it, or it gets stolen, or it gets moved around, you know, or, you know, the absolute best case is, let's say you store it and it stays in perfect shape. Well, I mean, nobody else is getting to enjoy that item. I mean, it's just being stored and shoved away somewhere where it could be maybe on display somewhere, or it could be shared by somebody or enjoyed by somebody's kid. I mean, so I think that's been a shift for me, where I have such an easy time. I'm like, hey, if I know I don't need this and I'm not going to use this on a regular basis, let me give this to somebody who can. And sometimes you can get creative with heirlooms or things that mean a lot to you. I know Marissa had hundreds of basketball t-shirts, and she has somebody working on making those into a quilt or a blanket or something like that. And I know you can take physical pictures and physical things sometimes and turn those into digital pictures and digital memories. So I mean, there are ways to take things and just make them more, you know, where they're usable in a minimal environment at the same time too.
So that's how we downsized and dealt with things that were important to us, family heirlooms, things like that. If you guys have any questions, comments, or if you've been through something similar and have any suggestions as well, feel free to let us know below.